Yes, we can start.
Good evening, everyone. This is Aishwarya, your moderator for the evening. And to start with, a warm welcome to CA Dhaval Kothari, sir, our Honorable Chairman of Jodhpur Branch, CA Hemant Loya, sir, Sikasa Chairman of Jodhpur Branch ICI, our Honorable guest, Ma'am Sulbi Banerjee, and each participant. Jodhpur branch of Sikasa have taken initiative and showed concern about stress and mental health. And for that, I would like to thank CA Dhaval Kothari, sir, and CA Hemant Loya sir, our Sikasa chairman. And for now, I would like I would request Mr. CA Hemant Loya sir for their word of wisdom. Over to you, sir.
Welcome everyone. I CA Hemant Loya, Chairman Sikasa Branch. Therefore, on behalf of all managing committee members, would like to welcome Ms. Sulbi Banerjee for today's interesting session, stress and mental topic. I think we all will get benefit from his views and experience. Thank you. Over to ma'am. Sulbi ma'am, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hemant sir, Aishwarya and Mohibur, and the entire team for inviting me here. It is indeed a great honor for me to be a part of this prestigious platform. As you know, mental health is something which the entire world is talking about. It's a matter of concern. And I really appreciate your initiative to, arrange this talk. It's a much needed talk in today's times. So today through my presentation, I'm going to take you all through a very interesting journey through the human brain, and we will try to understand in simple words what happens to us when we are stressed out, and some very easy, simple, everyday hacks to overcome that stress. So I will just start presenting and just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Right. So as I said, today's topic is exam stress and beyond, the brain at work. But having said that, I would not limit myself to talking about just exam stress, because stress is very much a big part of our lives, of our everyday lives, and it is much beyond exams. So we will touch upon different aspects of stress in our everyday lives, and we'll try and learn scientifically backed methods to overcome that stress. So before I begin this presentation, I would like to ask a simple question to all the participants here. How are we feeling today? Now, having said that, it is not required for you to tell me exactly how you're feeling at this moment. It is very much understandable that you might not be feeling anything at all right now at this moment, but maybe over the past 1 hour, how you have been feeling. So to make life easy for you, I have listed down a few very common feelings that we humans go through. So it is, you can just take some cue from this slide, or you can, come up with some feeling which is not listed here, and you can just let me know, if possible, in the chat box about how you've been feeling in the past 1 hour, in, preferably in one word. Or you can speak up also, that's completely fine with me.
Can I say something?
Yes, sure, Aishwarya, go ahead.
I was nervous about the meeting. It's my first time, and I was anxious too at the same time. And so yeah, these were something I was feeling in last 1 hour.
Great, Aishwarya. Thank you so much for telling us that. In fact, even I have been very nervous. I'm still shaking. But now that I've seen your smiling face, I think I'm feeling a lot better and a lot in control. So thanks for making me feel comfortable. What about Hemant sir and Mohibur? Could you also tell me how you have been feeling for the past 1 hour?
We are uncertain and nervous.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. And what about Mohibur? Would you like to share?
I'm feeling motivated.
Great, great. I'm really happy to know that. So as you can see, there are a number of feelings that human beings go through on an everyday basis from time to time, from which can change from 1 minute to the other. Now, let's come to the main question. Are we stressed? Now, let's take a pause here. I'm not asking you if you're stressed at this moment because you just shared your feelings with me, how you're feeling right now. But in general, do we feel stressed in our lives? I think the answer all of you would give, including me, is yes. All humans go through stress at some point in life, and most of us go through stress almost every single day. You will be shocked to know that there was a recent study which was conducted in India. It was a mass survey which revealed that in India, more than 70% of the people living here are stressed out. And more than 88% of individuals living in India are suffering from anxiety. So you can see it is a huge concern in our country. Now, we just discussed how we are feeling, how we have been feeling over the past 1 hour. And we often say, like Aishwarya said, I'm feeling nervous. Or Hemant sir said, I've been feeling a little, nervous. Or you said you've been feeling motivated. So similarly, we often say, oh my God, I'm feeling so stressed. I'm feeling so anxious. But do you think stress is a feeling? Honestly speaking, it is much, much, much beyond a feeling. Stress is not just a feeling. It is a biological response that happens within our body in response to what is happening outside our body, in our environment, what is happening to us. So it is our response to what is happening to us in our outside environment. Some common, situations where we feel stressed out are very common. Studying for an exam. I have not met any person who has not felt stressed studying for an exam. All of us do. First day in college, another source of stress. Preparing for a job interview, definitely yes. Unable to find an auto rickshaw back home, very common in the Indian household. All our moms, have they have this set time that you have to be back by 8 p.m. Imagine yourself looking for an auto frantically at 7:45 and your house is 15 kilometers away from that spot. How will you feel? Of course, you will feel stressed. Meeting new people, that can also give a lot of us stress. We have this kind of, social, I can't call it anxiety, but it gives us some stress to go and socialize with others. Results day, of course, no matter how well our exams go, we do feel stressed. Feeling threatened. Often we get into arguments with people and we feel that the other person is trying to, bring us down. ऐसा लगता है कि जो जिनसे हम लड़ रहे हैं, जिनसे आर्ग्यू कर रहे हैं, वो हमें नीचा दिखा रहे हैं. तब भी हमें स्ट्रेस होता है. And of course, in this age, all of you would know, going to propose to someone, if you like somebody and you are out there to tell them you like them, that can also give us a certain amount of stress. Now, what can you see in this slide from all these situations? Stress can be negative as well as positive. So if you refer to something like first day in college or meeting new people, this can be positive stress because it is combined with a little bit of nervousness or a little bit of excitement. Like for Aishwarya, she mentioned she is feeling a little stressed or nervous. But is she really negatively stressed? Not really. She's a little nervous, she's a little excited, and she's a little stressed. So that is kind of positive stress. On the other hand, if you feel threatened by someone, suppose you feel that someone is going to kill you or someone is arguing with you unnecessarily, or something like, unable to find an auto rickshaw back home. These are all sorts of negative stress. So what I mean to say is that stress is not necessarily negative. If we always say, oh my God, I'm so stressed out, it is not always negative. It can be positive too. So let's dig deeper into this. What are the types of positive stress and what are the types of negative stress? Positive stress in scientific terms is referred to as eustress. Now, some of the examples are, now let me ask you this question, Mohibur, Aishwarya, do you like going for these fun rides? We used to go to Appughar when we were young, when we were kids, or this World of Wonders. Do you like to go on roller coaster rides?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
You do,
Definitely,
right?
ma'am.
I am very scared, so I have never been on a roller coaster ever in my life. But people do go. But do they go to feel negatively stressed? Not really. They go to feel that adrenaline rush, that excitement. So that is a kind of positive stress. Another example is some people like to watch thriller movies, psychological movies, or something like, scary movies. So do we really watch those movies to feel bad about ourselves? That, oh, yaar, stress ho gaya, kyun dekh liya? No, right? We want to watch those movies because we want to feel excited about it. So that is another kind of positive stress. Now let's move on to distress or negative stress. Now, negative stress can be over a short period of time. For example, you are getting late, you're stuck in a traffic jam, you're feeling extremely frustrated. I mean, especially in Bangalore, I stay in Bangalore, so you would know, right? I mean, the traffic jams can be really, really irritating. So you do feel stressed out, but it is for a short span of time. On the other hand, if you are stuck in a toxic relationship, or you are stuck in the wrong course, which you never wanted to do, or you are stuck in a bad workplace where your boss, is really toxic, that is called as a chronic stress, because that is something that goes on for a longer period of time. So it can be negative and positive. Now, we often say, I'm feeling so stressed, but we also say, I'm feeling so anxious, I'm having anxiety, or sometimes some people have heard saying, oh my God, I think I'm getting an anxiety attack. Do you think stress and anxiety are the same? Do you think we can use these words interchangeably? No, the answer is no. Why? Because stress is something which is invariably happening to you in response to outside factors or stress factors. जैसे आपका कोई एग्जाम आ रहा है या कोई जॉब इंटरव्यू है या आप रोलर कोस्टर पे चल रहे हैं, that can give you stress. But anxiety is not necessarily that it will happen in response to some obvious stressors. For example, some people suffer from something like, you don't have to remember this, just for your information. Some people suffer from this condition called generalized anxiety disorder. What happens there is, suppose I have it, I'm sitting aram se, I'm watching TV, and suddenly, this thought comes in my mind that, oh my God, my life is going to end. There's nothing left in my life. I can't think of anything positive. And I feel very anxious. Something negative is going to happen. It feels, that is called as anxiety. So anxiety is a feeling of uneasiness or overwhelm. So what I want to tell you through the slide is that when you express your feelings to a mental health professional or to your friends or to your parents, be very careful about how, what exactly you're talking about. Stress and anxiety are two different things. All right. Now, let us come to the interesting part. What happens to our body when we are stressed out? I have tried to make it as simple as possible for your understanding. But before we get into that, before we, dig into our brains and see what's happening inside the brain, let me ask you this question. Have you ever played kabaddi?
Yeah, back in school.
Aishwarya, your volume is very low. Could you kind of increase the volume if possible?
Is it now audible?
Yes, kind of. Yes.
Okay. So yes, I have played kabaddi back in school.
Okay, great. So can you tell the team what happens in kabaddi? I mean, just in brief, what exactly happens? How do you play?
Okay, there are two teams basically, and one participant or one person, I'll rather say, goes in the area, or there are two bisections of a particular ground, and one participant from a team goes and try to what can we say? He tries to catch as many other participants as he can, basically, I guess.
Right. So basically, what you also told is that there are two teams. One person from one team has to go to the other team, and without getting caught, has to tap or tag on maximum number of people from that team, right? So this is a classic example of something which forms the basis of the stress response in our body, which is called a fight or flight. Fight or flight. Now, if you look at these words, very simple. Fight, either lado, ya flight, ya to bhago. This is what it is, right? So same thing with kabaddi. Kabaddi, what it does, it stimulates a stress response in our body, something similar to a predator and prey. So in this case, the predator is the team which is trying to catch hold of you, and you are the prey because you are trying to, not get caught and then tap on each one of them and come back to your territory. That's what happens. Now, when playing kabaddi or even for that matter cricket में क्या होता है जब batsman is taking those runs, so he has to make sure that he comes, on his side at the right time so that wicket na jaye, right? So that is also kind of a stress response. So he is highly alert and highly active. Why? Because the body's stress response is up and keeping him alert. So this is called as fight or flight. So either you're fighting or you're running away from the situation. So to understand this better, I will get into the science of it. But before that, let me tell you, where did this term come from, fight or flight? Now let us go back billions of years back and think of what our early ancestors used to do. Now, in those times, the mammals like tigers and lions, they had these long teeth in front, right? So we refer to them as saber tooth. Saber tooth means like really long tooth. So we refer to them as saber tooth mammals. Now, imagine a situation where we have our early ancestor who comes across a saber tooth lion or a tiger. What will he do? In today's time, we have evolved. So we would know a few things based on data points कि अच्छा टाइगर आता है तो हमें क्या करना है. हो सकता है कि हमारे पास गाड़ी हो तो हम गाड़ी लेके भाग जाएं, या हमारे पास कोई रिवॉल्वर हो तो हम उसे गोली मार दें, right? I mean, you're not supposed to, but then these days we have a lot of things to do. In those times, वो बेचारा क्या करे? He did not know. He had only two options. One was to fight with the tiger courageously, or to just flight from the situation, just run from the situation to some safe place. And that thing got engraved in our body in the form of survival instinct. So till today, after billions of years, we are still doing the same. Our body is automatically doing the same thing, fight or flight. So that is kind of become a part of our survival instinct. So what happens is now, when the body perceives something as a threat, it can be both physical, like somebody trying to come and kill you or somebody trying to come and hit you, or something psychological, like you have an exam or you have a job interview. So you feel stressed. So the same thing happens in today's times also in our body. Now, let us take our first step inside the human brain. And I promise to you, I will not make it boring and I will not make it too technical. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. I want you to focus on just two parts of the brain anatomy right now. One is the amygdala, which is in this part, you can see. And the other part is hypothalamus. Forget about the words. Just think of them as two warriors, as two workers in the brain. So what happens is, when we are coming across something which the body perceives as a threat, it can be anything. Like I said, somebody trying to come and hit us, or a job interview, anything. What happens is our amygdala, which is the region of the brain which is responsible for fear, gets activated. जब हम scary movies देखते हैं, it is this amygdala which gets activated, right? So similarly, when we come across a threat, our amygdala gets activated. What it does is, it immediately sends signals to another region of the brain, which is called as the hypothalamus. What does the hypothalamus do? The hypothalamus is the center called as command center of the brain. What it is doing, it is receiving the signals from the amygdala and trying to control the entire body through the nervous system. Clear hai? One is amygdala, which is the one which is responsible for fear. It got threatened, it felt threatened that something is there to hurt us. Immediately it sent signals to hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, in turn, will stimulate the nervous system. Now, let's pause here. Let's not read the slide. Let's understand one thing first. Our nervous system is of two types. One is the sympathetic nervous system. You don't need to remember the name, just understand it. Just imagine the characters in your brain and imagine it like a story. One is the sympathetic nervous system, which is a big part of this stress response, fight or flight. We will talk about it. And the other one is the parasympathetic nervous system, जिसका role तब आता है जब stress response हमारा खत्म हो जाता है. So we'll talk about that also. Now, coming back to amygdala. Amygdala felt threatened, sent signals to hypothalamus. Hypothalamus immediately sent signals to the sympathetic nervous system, which in turn stimulated the adrenal glands to produce adrenaline. Now is the interesting part. Have you heard of adrenaline rush? You guys must have, right? Adrenaline rush. This is exactly what we are talking about. Adrenaline rush is nothing but the first part of the first component of the stress response. So, हमें threat लगा, adrenaline rush हुआ, उससे क्या हुआ? उससे क्या होता है? The body goes through a number of different responses. I'll just change the slide. The body goes through a number of different responses. Let's quickly see. And I'm sure you will be able to relate to these because all of us have gone through these. What happens when we are stressed out? Heart beats faster than normal, pulse rate goes up, blood pressure goes up. Roller coaster पे भी तो यही होता है ना? You start to breathe more rapidly, lungs takes in more oxygen is sent to the brain. क्यों होता है? So that we are more alert and we are more active in that situation. Because क्या है ना, fight or flight, body को तो वही समझ में आता है. You have to be extremely alert because what if you have to run from the situation or you have to face the situation? So you have to be alert. Also, our sight, hearing, and all the other senses become sharper. And the best part is all this happens so fast, we don't even get to know that it's happening. It happens in a fraction of a second. Now, going back to the brain, what happens? So we spoke about what? We had amygdala, which felt threatened, sent signals to hypothalamus, which controls the body. That, sent signals to the nervous system. And the body showed the stress response. There was an adrenaline rush. Now, agar adrenaline rush ho raha hai, it also has to come down, right, at some point. So the adrenaline starts subsiding gradually. Once it starts subsiding, something has to come and take its place because we have to be alert, right? Fight or flight. We have to be at any given point alert in that situation. Now comes the role of the second component of the stress response system, which is cortisol. I'm sure you would have heard of this name somewhere. Cortisol is a very popularly known stress hormone. So now gets released cortisol, and what cortisol does is it maintains a steady supply of blood sugar. Forget about this. Technical नहीं समझने की जरूरत है. आप बस ऐसे देखिए. We spoke about two types of nervous system: sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. Imagine you are in a car. You're driving the car, or you're sitting next to the driver. What can you see happening? The person has three things, right, near the foot. One is the accelerator, one is the clutch, one is the brake. The sympathetic nervous system is nothing but the accelerator. So it is accelerating the stress response of the body. And what is helping it in that? One is adrenaline and one is cortisol. Both are helping it to maintain that acceleration and keeping us highly revved up and on high alert. क्योंकि fight or flight है. Now, when the cortisol level also comes down, suppose जिनसे आपकी लड़ाई हो रही थी वो कहीं चले गए, या आपका एग्जाम खत्म हो गया, या रोलर कोस्टर बंद हो गया, तो कभी तो स्ट्रेस रिस्पॉन्स भी खत्म होगा ना. So in that case, what happens is the cortisol level comes down, that is the stress hormone level comes down, and automatically the sympathetic nervous system, its function diminishes. It has no function now. Now comes the role of the brake. अब आपको गाड़ी stop करनी है. So now comes the role of the parasympathetic nervous system, which dampens the stress response, and now you're relaxed. So this is how the stress response of the body works. Is this clear? Or if you have any questions, I would love to take up the questions.
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. I hope it was not too technical. I tried to make it as simple as possible. And also, as we discussed in between, the best part, that this entire stress response, it doesn't happen over an hour or over some time. It happens in a fraction of a second because the body is it is programmed that way. The brain is wired that way. So people don't even get to know that it has happened. Even before you see an object clearly, you have already acted upon it. Very, very good example for this is our reflex action. For example, we are walking on the road. Suddenly the car coming in front, like coming towards us, speeds up and starts driving in our direction. what will we do? Even before we realize, we will just jump out. We will jump out. That's our reflex. But will we spend a lot of time in thinking, अच्छा हम jump करें, कि वो brake लगाएगा, कि क्या होगा? No, right? It is our reflex. We will immediately jump out. That is the part of the fight or flight stress response in our body. This will be clear to you this way. All right. Very interesting fact I want you to know. When we are going through some stress response, imagine when you're on the roller coaster, आपको भूख तो नहीं लगती है, right? आपको भूख तो नहीं लगती होगी ना जब आपको बहुत stress हो रहा है. मतलब हाँ, over a period of time, exam stress के time लगती है. Some people do feel, I also feel. But at that point, when you're literally in that situation, you will not feel hungry. Why? Because the body's digestive system and the immune system both gets compromised. And that is why people say that if you have stress over a long period of time, you can catch infections very easily. आपको ये सर्दी खांसी बहुत जल्दी होती है क्योंकि हमारा immune system compromise हो जाता है अगर हम बहुत ज़्यादा stress लेते हैं. This is also one thing I wanted you to know. So as I said, stress can be positive. Negative stress can also be okay because it happens with everyone. But prolonged stress, a prolonged release of stress hormones can have very deep impact on our brain. It can lead to a lot of deeper problems like anxiety, depression, and a lot many other problems. So our aim through this presentation is to, understand few very simple hacks and try and not let our stress translate into anxiety or depression. Let it remain at the stress level. This is what our aim is. Now, coming to the most important part of this presentation, let's talk about exam stress. So before I go into the depth of it, I would like to ask you all, what do you think causes exam stress? होता क्यों है? मतलब reason क्या होता है? क्यों होता है exam stress?
Okay, so we are I'm a chartered accountant student, and most of the time the length of the syllabus is very, very much. It's very lengthy. So sometimes we can't even cover the entire syllabus before the exams. I think one of the reason is that because we could not cover the entire syllabus, and that's the reason we get stressed about if अगर वो question उसी part से आ गया तो. First thing is that, and second, definitely before I'll share my example. What happened to me? I appeared for the exams in last July, and it was accountancy paper. Accountancy, that means you need to carry your calculators with yourself, and it was the first paper, and I was so anxious and so stressed at that particular time. I forgot to carry the calculator, which was the most important part for that paper. So yeah, because of the exam, and yeah, that's what I guess.
I understand. I totally understand. That has happened with me a number of times. So what you mean to say is that since the syllabus is too much, it is difficult to manage it in that small time span, right? Yeah. What about Hemant sir? Sir, you have come across many students. So what is your, idea about this, that why do students complain of exam stress? What do you think causes this?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. I think the 3 hours of exam decide our fate, and it is result of our 1 year labor study. So we get nervous due to exam.
Understandable, sir. Very much understandable. So I have listed down a few possible causes of exam stress here. Of course, there can be many more, but these are some very basic causes that I found out after surveying a few students of different age groups. So first and foremost, and I feel this is one of the biggest cause, correct me if I'm wrong, and no matter how much we deny this, but we all do it, procrastination. जब हम बोलते हैं आज नहीं करेंगे, कल कर लेंगे, नहीं परसों कर लेंगे, परसों से स्टार्ट करते हैं. So last minute preparation is something which really leaves us all stressed during exams, before exams. Second thing is high expectations coming from both teachers as well as parents. Even peer pressure can be a huge factor for exam stress. Then we come to competition with others. Sometimes competition can be healthy, but sometimes it can be highly unhealthy, and it can give you a lot of negative stress before an exam. Then next comes feeling less prepared. Even if you have prepared everything, for example, Aishwarya mentioned, the portions are so huge that even after ek to hota nahi hai prepare pura ek saath, and even if you have prepared, you still feel that something is missing. Maybe I am feeling a little less prepared, kuch to reh gaya hoga, because itna sara portion hai. And lastly, fear of failure. This can lead to anxiety also. When you're afraid कि मतलब होगा क्या, मतलब पढ़ा तो है but pass होंगी या fail होंगी. So that is also a very important factor of exam stress. So these are just a few, there are many more. But let us take the most important part of this, and I know all of us will say that नहीं हम तो नहीं करते, but हम सब लोग करते हैं procrastinate अपने everyday life में भी. आज नहीं करेंगे कल नहीं करेंगे परसों. So let us try and understand this problem from at the root level. Aaj nahi kal. This is the title of the slide. So we will revisit the brain, but this time we will revisit it in a very short, small way. So just forget about the slide and just imagine your brain is a war place. It's a war ground. It's a battleground, and there are two warriors who are fighting amongst themselves. ठीक है? एक warrior है prefrontal cortex. It is somewhere here. It is your thinking center, right? इसके behind में there is a center called prefrontal cortex. What does that do? It is responsible for all your logical thinking or rational thinking. कि whether something like I'm not getting the right example, but something like, should I park the car in the middle of the road or should I park the car on the side? कोई लॉजिकल बंदा होगा तो बोलेगा ऑब्वियसली ऑन द साइड, बट इलॉजिकल बंदा बोलेगा अरे आई एम गेटिंग लेट, मिडिल में ही पार्क करके चल देते हैं. So that is something that is done by the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical thinking center. And the other system which is there in the brain is called the limbic system, which is somewhere here. Limbic system is responsible for all your emotional and behavioral responses of the brain. जब हम इमोशनल थिंकिंग करते हैं ना, जैसे बोलते हैं दिल से सोचो या दिमाग से, दैट इज वेयर दिस कम्स फ्रॉम. सो दिमाग से इज प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स एंड दिल से सोचना इज मोर ऑफ द लिम्बिक सिस्टम. नाउ इमेजिन योर ब्रेन is a battleground, and these two are warriors. They are constantly fighting amongst each other, limbic system and prefrontal cortex. Now when does procrastination happen? कि आज नहीं कल. It happens when the limbic system takes over the prefrontal cortex. तब क्या होता है, हमें लगता है नहीं अभी जो कर रहे हैं ना वही अच्छा है, वही कर लेते हैं, बात का बाद में सोचेंगे. That feel good at the moment kind of feeling कि what you're doing right now is good enough, which is anything but sending. For example, like you have to send an email in the context of a job setup. I'm saying you have to send an email, or even college setup में आपको अपना practical submit करना है, उसके लिए आपके पास 5 दिन है. तो आपको लगता है वन पार्ट ऑफ द ब्रेन लॉजिकल थिंकिंग प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स इज आज करके कल सबमिट कर देते हैं, वी विल बी फ्री फॉर द नेक्स्ट 3 days. मगर द इमोशनल सेंटर कम्स एंड ओवरकम्स इट एंड सेज नहीं छोड़ ना, अभी मूवी देख रहे हैं ना, मूवी देख लेते हैं, बाद में कर लेंगे, उसमें क्या है. दिस इज वेयर प्रोक्रास्टिनेशन कम्स इन. दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस इन द ब्रेन. नाउ द गुड न्यूज, वी ऑल प्रोक्रास्टिनेट, वी ऑल से आज नहीं कल. But the good news is that all our brains they are highly neuroplastic in the sense that they are highly trainable. We can train our brain with some simple hacks to procrastinate less over a period of time. Now I'm going to tell you 5 science-backed hacks to avoid procrastination. These may sound very simple on the face of it, but trust me, I have done each one of these and it really, really has helped me. So you try it out. First and foremost, do the worst task first. Like you mentioned, Aishwarya, that itna sara course matter rehta hai ki time is not enough to cover it. So I'm sure out of 10 topics, 2 or 3 topics would be your least favorite ones. बहुत boring है, बहुत complicated है, उसको हम क्या करते हैं, बाद में करेंगे. But that is not the solution, because if you keep lingering it, then you will get even more stressed out thinking अरे वो पड़ा हुआ है. So instead, do the worst topic first. Once you're done with it, a major chunk is over, and then you can do the simpler ones and get done with the rest. Second hack is create smaller chunks. Very important. Suppose you have a chapter of 100 pages. Now, would you be able to read all those 100 pages in 2 days? Even if you do, you can only mug up. You will not understand, or you will not be able to memorize it. What if we divide that 100 pages into, say, 50 topics? And those 50 topics we do over a span of 5 days, maybe 10 topics each day. We pick up small chunks, जैसे 2 paragraphs हमने उठा लिए या 5 pages उठा लिए, manageable chunks, and we do those. Also, one thing that has really helped me while doing this hack is I make a note of these things on a piece of paper. Okay, these are the chunks I have to do today. I keep ticking off the ones I've done. Now imagine you have 10 chunks in front of you out of a very boring chapter, and you have ticked off 5 of those. How will you feel? It will make you feel so amazing, right? That wow, matlab 10 में से 5 हो गए. I can do this. I got this, right? You will immediately give that boost to your mind that okay, I got this. I can do this. So this is something that you can do. Third is an amazing hack that I have used. I mean, this is something that a lot of learned men have been telling over the years. I use this, the 10-minute trick. What happens is, again, a very boring chapter, a very boring topic is there. Say, आपने chunks में divide किया, उसमें से एक बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब complicated है. A lot of numbers are there. I mean, I should not be saying this to a CA student because you guys are so good with numbers. But somehow it's very complicated and you don't feel like doing it. Give it just 10 minutes. Do as much as possible in those 10 minutes. But trust me, those 10 minutes, if you spend and if you're able to do at least 60% of the matter, you will feel that boost to do even more later on. So that 10-minute trick works for those chapters or topics which are extremely difficult and you have been just, keeping it aside that baad mein karenge. Do it just for 10 minutes. You don't have to worry that, are 2 ghante lagenge karne mein. You don't have to worry. Give it 10 minutes and do whatever you're able to cover in those 10 minutes. That will also be a lot of help. Fourth is work in public. Now, this does not mean कि आपको Twitter पे जाके announce करना है. Hello, hi, I'm doing this topic. I'm going to complete it by this time. No, you don't have to do that. But Aishwarya, for example, we are friends. And I'm also preparing for the same topic as you. Now we connect at say 11 a.m. in the morning and you tell me, अच्छा मैं ये topic कर रही हूँ, मेरा plan ये है 4 p.m. तक I want to get done with this. Now once you tell me this and once you make that announcement to me, your brain keeps on telling you that you have to do it, 4 p.m. is the deadline. You're automatically able to do it because you have announced that. The same is the case with social media. A lot of people do it, not for exams, but a lot of things like, for example, I was very tensed about this presentation. I have given a lot of presentations in the past, but still I was tensed and I was nervous. But when I saw it on social media, I thought, chalo, ab to ho hi gaya, ab to karna hi padega. So that thing really helps, that gives a boost to the brain that, okay, it's fine, you can do it. And last but not the least, very important, it might look very simple to you, but it's very important. Reward yourself. Be kind to yourself. Even if you have done one topic out of 10 in a day, reward yourself by ways that you feel comfortable in. Some people like to go eat something nice, Maggie bana ke kha liya. Ya fir some people like to, go for a walk with their pet dog or go maybe watch some movie. But yeah, make sure that you watch something which is not very heavy on your brain, watch something which is relaxing. But the idea is to reward yourself every time you do a simple thing, even smallest of smallest achievements if you're able to do. So these are 5 hacks. Do you have any questions?
No, but I really do reward myself after completion every task. So I really eat a chocolate.
Oh, you give yourself a chocolate. That's an amazing way of rewarding yourself. And chocolate has such good impact on your brain. We will come to that also. Even I eat a lot of chocolate for rewarding myself.
And sometimes I've seen many of the students or who are belonging to the Chartered Accounting CA fraternity goes on a vacation of 2 or 3 days.
Right.
For the exam, for stress relieving that the stress.
Rest. Very nice. Because once you're in nature, it is actually a science-backed technique. It's called grounding. For example, walking barefoot on the grass or on the moist soil, और जैसे बारिश होती है ना, सौंधी सी खुशबू आती है, that actually has some positive impact on your brain. That is science fact. So we'll come to all of that also, but rewarding yourself in whatever way possible, whatever suits you, is very important, doing it time to time. Now we come to some other hacks to combat exam stress. So we are done with the major factor responsible, which is procrastination, but in general there are a few hacks that I want you to know. One is, ये पढ़ के आपको लगेगा इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है, but trust me, this really helps. Now in our country, in fact in other countries also for that matter, I've seen, we have this habit of, you know, sitting on the bed and studying. Chair पे बैठे हुए हैं, गिरे जा रहे हैं, बैठ के पढ़ रहे हैं. We have that habit. We feel that we are feeling comfortable, so it is going in our head, we are able to remember. But trust me, not only does it impact your posture, but also it intervenes with your way of memorizing things or remembering things. So make sure that when you're studying, you have a designated area, a clean table, which is nothing but everything related to your studies. No mobile phone or no extra laptop or no books or anything around. Just what is required for your studies and with less number of distractions. Very, very important. This can be one hack. And why I'm saying this is related to stress, because one very important factor of stress is when you feel overwhelmed. During exams hota hai na, we feel overwhelmed. Now what adds to that overwhelm is a lot of clutter around us. When we see ki are books pade hue hain, lot of pens and papers lying around, we feel even more overwhelmed. So to avoid that, we want to work in a nice clean area which is designated for studying. Second, very important, try these concentration exercises. Now I know every time a lot of people tell you to do yoga and meditation. I wouldn't ask you to do that. I don't do that myself. It's good if you can. But there are 3 simple concentration exercises that I myself have tried, and these work wonders for me. In the, I mean, I'm not studying for an exam, but when I'm working and I have an important deadline around, I do these. So first is do some deep breathing exercises. So these days, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, there are many apps available in the App Store, which help you in guided meditation. And those are not like Ramdev wala nahi hai ki matlab आधे घंटे का होगा या 1 घंटे का होगा, not like that. But there are even 1 minute or 5 minutes of meditation, deep breathing exercises that you can do by just listening to some calming music. So download one of those apps. There are some apps like Calm is there, CALM. Then there is Mindspace, there is Headspace. A lot of apps are there. You can download any one of these, and in between your studies, you know, when you're taking breaks, you can take these 5 minute breaks in between and do this deep breathing exercise. What will happen is you will inhale a lot of oxygen. That oxygen will go to your brain and make you feel sharper and more content with the studies that you're doing, and make you feel less stressed, because automatically you're able to memorize it better and you're able to do much in less short span of time. Secondly, a very interesting method I found out recently. It sounds very weird, but it actually works. So if you have, just take any random book or any random piece of text, take a paragraph and start striking off one letter, any one letter, maybe E's. Okay, the E's, all the E's. Har word mein jahan pe bhi E hai, try and strike it off. Now it might sound very basic, but it works wonders. How? Because you are at that point focused on the E's. You are just removing the E's in that paragraph. So your brain is completely focused. So it is like, in a way, sort of meditation, because those 5 minutes that you're spending, like people play crossword puzzles, right? On the in newspapers they play. That is also a sort of meditation, because they're completely focused on it. Same is the case here. So you can try this out to increase your focus and be less stressed, because automatically you're able to memorize better and you're able to increase your productivity overall. And third is listening to music. Music can have amazing effects on your brain. We will come to that later. But if you are comfortable listening to music, not just while studying, but also, after, when you're taking breaks, try this thing that if you're listening to some song, try and concentrate on one particular instrument. Jaise there is a song in which the person is singing There's somebody playing the violin, somebody's playing the piano. Maybe just concentrate on the piano part and just give it like a few minutes. Close your eyes and give it some few minutes and concentrate on the piano part. This has actually been proved by studies that this can have amazing impact on your brain in terms of improving your concentration and memorizing ability. So these are a few hacks that I have used, and maybe you can also use to improve your concentration and feel less stressed about the entire process of preparing for your exam. No matter how much I stress, it is less. Taking breaks is very, very important while you're studying. Every 45 minutes, I would recommend you to take breaks. And take breaks as in don't go and play video games or watch a psychological thriller. No, nothing that will have a negative impact on your brain, but something which will make you feel relaxed, like going for a walk or playing with your pets or reading a book, a light book, or listening to some music. But take regular breaks every 45 minutes. Very important. No matter how we feel that, okay, we will give it 2 hours and complete this portion, you end up wasting time because the brain kind of stops, processing beyond a certain time. So you have to take breaks every 45 minutes, be it just 5 to 10 minutes of break. Next hack, very important. I'm sure all your parents keep telling you this. Mine tell me all the time. सोने से पहले मोबाइल नहीं यूज करना है. Reduce screen time. In today's world, this has become a huge concern for us. All the time we are on the mobile, on the screen, on the laptop. And even before sleeping, we do that. That can have more detrimental effects on the brain than you can even imagine. I have not put any scientific details here, but there are studies that have shown how damaging it can be for the brain in the long term. So why would you want to do that? So make sure that 60 minutes before you go to sleep, you don't use your mobile. Try doing it for 1 week and see if it works. I understand that sometimes it is absolutely impossible to avoid it, but most of the time you can try it and see. It will definitely give you better sleep. And having said that, not all of us can get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We are not lucky enough. Sometimes we get woken up or we wake up ourselves when we have exams, right? 3 ghante mein neend khul jati hai. That's completely okay. But those few hours that you get, make sure that it is uninterrupted sleep that you're getting.
Ma'am, there is a question actually.
Yes, sure.
Regarding to the sleep only. Most of the students who ask me the question that they have introduced something method of power nap. Between the study and they take a power nap of 15 to 20 minutes and they started feeling a freshness. Does this concept helps in concentration or not?
The answer is yes and no. But I would say power naps can in any case not replace your regular sleep of 7 to 8 hours. Never ever. If you feel that you can take half an hour of power nap during the day every few hours and stay up the night, that will not help. Studies have proven time and again that taking power naps versus getting continuous uninterrupted sleep, there is a whole lot of difference. So let's make that clear. Because when you are sleeping, it is not just to feel refreshed and wake up refreshed. It is, a lot of things are happening to the body while you're asleep, right? Cells are getting formed and a lot of things are like, your organs are well rested. A lot of things are happening while you're asleep. A lot of, things that are absolutely necessary for survival. But when you're taking power naps, you cannot really expect that thing to be same as, getting continuous sleep. So I would say for concentration, if it works for you, well and good, you can take power naps, nothing wrong with that. It might help you, but you cannot compromise on that 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night. You will have to get that before an exam. At least, 10 days before an exam, you have to get that on a regular basis. Otherwise, you will end up damaging your brain.
I mean, most of the students that during the exam and after the exam, their sleeping pattern has been a very different shape. Most of the, as you mentioned earlier also and in this slide also, that social media, this so-called platforms has make them sleep a very unusual one. The student now get to sleep around 3 o'clock and get to wake up around 11 and then the circle changes out.
Absolutely.
Does this disturbance of sleep impact their brains also?
It does, because there is something called as a biological sleep cycle. And that happens automatically in our brain. Why is it so that when we see sunlight, we wake up, and when we see darkness, we go to sleep? Because that is how our brain and our body is programmed, right? But if we are playing with that and we are changing that natural process, we are actually intervening with our brain's natural working system. Right now, coming to social media and usage of screen time, longer screen time, it can have a very bad impact on the sleeping cycle and the brain. So first and foremost, I would recommend you to go for something like this. What I'm wearing, this is like a zero power Blu-ray. What do you call it? Preventive glasses. Very important while you're working on the laptop or while you're working on the phone. Also, social media can have a lot of psychological impact. I'm saying that being a social media consultant myself, because we do a lot of comparison. For example, we go on Facebook, we have exam time. One person puts up something like, finally, something like, we are left with 10 chapters, and that person puts, finally done with my syllabus, going for this short trip or going for a cup of coffee. How will it make you feel? Human beings are like that. They will immediately start comparing. So social media, I would say, just reduce the usage as much as possible during the exams or before the exams, because why would you want it to play psychologically with your overall functioning of the brain? And coming to sleep, as you said, as you asked Mohibur, I think screen time is the biggest increased screen time or usage of mobile phones is the biggest enemy of sleep these days. And it is very important that all of us make conscious efforts. That's why I said 60 minutes before you go to sleep, try doing this. I know it might be sounding, you might be saying in your mind, how is she saying this? That is not possible, because I myself am not able to do it. But try doing it. It will help. It will surely help, because that's how our body is naturally programmed to be. It's not naturally programmed to look into bright screens and then try to sleep off. Why? Because as I said, there is a natural sleep cycle. When we see the sun rising or when we see the sun rays, we automatically wake up, right? In the morning, when we see the sun rays, we wake up. And when it is dark, our body knows that we have to go to sleep. Now, what if at 2 a.m., you have this bright light of your mobile phone staring into your face? What will the body take it as? What will the body, perceive it as? The body will perceive it as daytime. So that will automatically impact your sleeping cycle. I mean, even if you get those 4-5 hours of sleep, that will be disturbed sleep. So it will not, impact you in any positive manner. So reduced screen time is extremely important. I would tell you, Mohibur, you tell this to all your friends, no matter how what they say. It is extremely important to do this. In fact, I can share a few articles with you if you're interested, which talk about the science behind it, that how screen time can interfere with one's normal functioning of the brain. Does that answer your question, Mohibur?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, did you know that there are few food items that can help us beat the stress? I'm sure you do. But unfortunately, some of these food items are very inviting. For example, like Aishwarya said, she rewards herself with a piece of chocolate once she achieves small little things. So dark chocolate is a huge stress buster that can be used. So not only are you rewarding yourself, but you're also helping your body beat the stress in the long run. But there are a few food items which we don't like that much. For example, spinach or beetroot, which are a little boring, but still these help in beating the stress. So maybe you can just, take a screenshot of this, or I can share it with you. And during the exam time, at least 1 month before the exam, and while the exams are going on, make sure that you incorporate at least a few of these food items in your diet. And it can really work wonders for you and help you beat the stress. Now, very important, and I have understood this through my own experience. There are scientific studies that have proven that music can heal people and music can help people beat the stress, right? So make sure that you listen to music. Of course, if you don't like to listen to music, I wouldn't ask you to take this hack up, but most of us do. So I think listening to music is something that you can do. One thing that has worked for me is while I'm studying for an exam or I'm preparing for an interview, preparing for a deadline, what I do is I plug in my earphones. I put some favorite music of mine, of course, not heavy metal or rock music, not that, something calming. And what I do is I keep the volume at the bare minimum. And I keep studying, especially while I'm revising something. Like while I was revising this PPT, I was literally like listening to music on very low volume. So that helps me in having a cool, calm mind without any stress, and be able to memorize the things better or remember the things better. So this is actually scientifically proven method, which you can also incorporate in your daily life.
I really did that, ma'am. What the music? It really helped me back before my exams. While solving the practical sums, I used to hear music, and it really makes me more focused toward what I'm doing. So yeah, it really helps. Thank you.
So do you also reduce the volume, Aishwarya, a
Yes,
bit?
ma'am. Yes,
Great.
ma'am.
Great. So I used to do this, but then I came across this scientific paper that talks about it. And then I understood that, okay, this is actually scientifically proven that it helps. So we can all try and incorporate this. Now, we come to the last part of this presentation. Now, there is a life beyond exams too, right? Exams are like seasonal. Exams come and go. But how to beat stress in general in life? By having a happy mind. If you have a happy, stress-free mind, no amount of problems or stress can come and bother you. So now I'm going to tell you some very interesting hacks. It's a very small portion of the presentation. I'll finish off quickly. Which will help you have a happy, stress-free mind over a long span of time. Now, there are 4 ingredients for a happy mind. And these 4, I call these magic ingredients. If you know about these magic ingredients, and if you know the ways to hack these, your life is set. Because you are happy, I mean, I cannot say that you're happy all the time, but most of the times you can have a direct control over your own happiness or over your own stress levels. So these hormones, which are called as brain chemicals or happiness chemicals, these are of 4 types. One is dopamine. We will talk about it a little later. One is oxytocin, one is serotonin, and one is endorphin. Now let's see how we can increase the levels of these and what are these. Dopamine is also called as the reward chemical. What happens, Aishwarya, when somebody when a senior of yours or some teacher of yours appreciates you? How do you feel? How do you feel? Tell me.
When someone appreciates me, definitely it really suits my mind. I don't know why. It's something like you accomplished the task or accomplished something, achieved something. So I feel very
Yes.
happy.
Right. So that is the dopamine in your mind acting for you, where you feel rewarded. While somebody is appreciating you, or you're getting an award, or you're getting good marks, you feel rewarded. Now, obviously, we cannot be on a high all the time, right? During the day or during like every day, we can't expect someone to come and appreciate us and make us feel good. So, what do we do to make us feel good about ourselves? These are some hacks. One is self-care. Whatever suits you, go to a spa, or listen to some good music, or just go to the parlor and get your hair cut. Anything that suits you. Self-care, very, very important in today's times, where everything around us is literally running, like running at the speed of a jet plane. So celebrating small wins is one more. So you have to, like I said, rewarding yourself and celebrating small little wins. For example, you have been procrastinating a task for a long time. Finally, on the 10th day, you were able to do it. Somebody might say, what's the big deal? But for you, it is a big deal. So celebrate that. Order some pizza and feel good about it. That can also help you feel rewarded about it. Eating good food. I don't mean to say junk food, but eating good food, which is good for you and tasty. Completing a task, like you said, you feel a sense of achievement on completing a task, right? Okay, I'm done with this. And that is where we discussed that, right? That make a note of the topics and keep ticking those topics on the sheet of paper, so that every time you look at those ticks, you feel, oh, I have achieved this, I have done this topic, and you automatically feel better about yourself. And of course, getting enough sleep. You feel rewarded when you're getting enough sleep, as the dopamine level in your brain goes up. The second happiness chemical is oxytocin. Now, you might ask me, how is the love hormone related to exam stress or stress? I mean, what is the relation? It is very much related, because in today's world, when everyone is so busy and our lives are full of stress, what can make us feel better? Being loved, feeling loved, or feeling supported, right? Feeling loved and supported can definitely make us feel better and help us have a happier and stress-free mind. So oxytocin is that happiness chemical in your brain, which helps you get that love dose. So how can you get that? One very important, as Munna Bhai MBBS said, Jadoo ki Jhappi. Very, very important. So, give your loved ones Jadoo ki Jhappi. Not only will it improve your oxytocin levels and make you feel good, but also make them feel reassured that, okay, you are there for them. Even if you have exams going on or you have stress in your life, you're there for them and you love them, you care for them. Secondly, if you have pets or you like playing with pets, that is one thing that you can do. Positive affirmations. Try this out sometime. What I do is I wake up in the morning, I go to the mirror, I look at myself, I give myself a high five in the mirror, and I say, I got this. Today is my day and I am going to do this. So no matter how stressed I am, even today I was very stressed because of the presentation, but I did this in the morning and I felt okay. I'm telling myself it will go well, it has to go well. So positive affirmations have a very high power of increasing your oxytocin levels. So do this every day if possible. Giving a compliment. Who doesn't like compliments? But have you ever tried giving others compliments? Just try it out sometime. Like giving each other compliments, like, I'm very proud of you, the way you're working, or I really like the way you study on time and help others as well. These kind of compliments. So you will also automatically feel good about it. The third hormone, the third happiness chemical is serotonin. I'm sure you would have probably heard of it somewhere. Serotonin is probably one of the most important happiness chemicals. I really want you to listen to this very, very carefully. So serotonin is the mood stabilizer, and if the serotonin level in your body goes down, or enough serotonin is not produced, or serotonin gets used up very rapidly, then you can get into depression also. It is scientifically linked. So you have to be very careful about the serotonin levels that are that are there in your body and how you're maintaining them. Some ways that you can maintain a good level of serotonin and be in good mood are meditation or deep breathing, sun exposure. Trust me, not only you get vitamin D from the sun, but also it makes you feel good by increasing the serotonin levels. You're in a good mood if you're exposed to the sun. I'm not saying in the heat of, you guys are in Jodhpur right now, so I wouldn't say I am from Delhi, so I know how bad it can be. But to some extent, if you can, at least expose yourself to a little bit of sun, that can really help in increasing the serotonin levels. Running, go for a run if possible in the evening or early morning, swimming, any kind of exercise, cycling, walking in the nature. Like, I think one of you had asked this question, right? Mohibur had asked this question that I have seen a lot of people going for these short vacations to celebrate their victories of, having appeared for the exams and done well. So that can also in itself help in keeping them happy by increasing their serotonin levels, by walking in nature. The smell of the grass or walking barefoot on the grass. These are all scientifically linked with your brain's serotonin levels. So make sure you walk in the nature and, connect with nature as much as possible during the day. And lastly, the final thing that I'm going to tell you about, the last happiness chemical is endorphin. Endorphin is also known as the pain reliever. So at times our body, so not in the literal sense, but in general, our mind feels in pain, right? Like we feel a little, blah, or we feel that, nothing is going my way. Or in general, we feel that, I'm not feeling up to do something. So that is what happens when the endorphin level goes down. So a few things that you can do here is maybe watch some Kapil Sharma show or Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, whatever you prefer. So watch some comedy, have a good laugh, maybe use some essential oils. Essential oils have been scientifically proven to make you happy, to make your brain happier and to calm your mood. So maybe during the exam, you can get one of those incense stands and put some essential oil in it. That can really help you in having a calm mind. Do some exercise, and of course have dark chocolate, because dark chocolate is proven to increase the endorphin levels in your body. Now, all this would look like a lot, but trust me, if you're able to do these hacks, at least keep these chemicals of your brain in check, you will be 100 times better than what you are right now. I have done it myself and it has worked wonders for me. Finally, before ending this presentation, I would like to talk about a very, very important aspect of mental health. So, we understood what is stress. We understood what is anxiety. We understood how stress affects us, our body, our brain, what happens inside the brain. We also tried to understand different everyday hacks that we can use to beat the stress in our lives or during exams. But end of the day, if it gets too overwhelming for us, even exam stress, don't compare yourself with others saying that if she can do it, I can also do it. Don't do that, because every person has a different threshold and a different mechanism of working in the brain. So if you ever feel highly overwhelmed or highly anxious, try and seek professional help. It is very, very important. And make sure that you seek help from someone who is a professional, not from just about anyone, because there are many mental health professionals out there who are charging money from people and giving them therapy, but actually they are not practicing psychologists. So always look for someone who is either a psychiatrist, who's a doctor, who can help you maintain the levels of your brain chemicals, what we discussed right now, maybe with some medications, or somebody like a psychologist who is practicing, who has been practicing for years and can help you with your career counseling, or in general, busting stress, or something like if you have any problems in general in your life, all of that. But seek help, very important. Never ever feel that you are alone. There are many, many, many professionals out there who are there to help you out. If you ever feel, you should always go and seek help. It is nothing to feel ashamed of. So that's it. And coming to this, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I won't bore you really. So as you know, my name is Surabhi and I am a mental health advocate. So what a mental health advocate does is they tell stories about their own life. So I am also a warrior of anxiety and depression. Why I say warrior is that I have not conquered it completely. I'm still on therapy and I'm still on medications. But after utilizing all these hacks that I talked about with you, it has helped me a lot and I have come a long way. So now my life is dedicated to spreading awareness about this and letting people know that it is completely okay to talk about these things. There's nothing to feel ashamed of. I want to normalize and simplify conversations around mental health through this initiative of Mental Health Simplified. And I'm there on social media and I keep posting interesting hacks around mental health, anxiety, and different topics around mental health. So if you're interested, then do follow me and we will be connected there. Also, after this presentation, maybe in a day, I will try and share one handout with Mohibur so that he can send it to you guys with some of these hacks so that you can keep it handy with you. So if there's an exam time or if you're feeling very stressed, you have it handy and you know, okay, these are the things I can do to feel better. That's it from my side and I will just stop sharing the screen now.
Ma'am, I really have a question for you.
Yes.
We discussed about the sleep schedule. So I really want to ask you, during the exams, we used to study late in the night and sleep late, late in the morning. So there are people who says that you should study early in the morning and not in the late night. So is it really is it just a myth or it really works?
I would say it totally depends on you, how you have trained your brain. For example, some people are morning people. Like I'm not a morning person. I can never wake up early. Yeah, I can't. Even during my exams in college, I used to stay up the entire night and study. But having said that, see, Aishwarya, doing it for some time before your exams, maybe for a few days is okay. But if you're making it a habit, and if you're doing it every single day, that you're staying up till late and you're not getting any sleep during the day, See, some people work night shifts, right? What do? They work the entire night, come and sleep. But do we do that? We don't do that. We get hardly 1 or 2 hours of sleep during the day and we stay up the entire night. Now, during the exams, if it is helping you, it is okay. Some people, it helps. Like for me, last minute study helps me to retain better. It's a weird coping mechanism, but I have it. So it depends on you. But don't make it a habit. Because once you make it a habit, it can really, less amount of sleep can have a lot of negative impact on your skin, on your, not just the brain, on your skin, on your overall functioning, of body cells and organs, everything. So sleep is very, very necessary. So never make it a habit. Even if you have to stay up all night, make sure you get that sleep during the day. I would say that. But there's nothing like you cannot, it's very bad that you're staying up all night and studying and that's not like that. It depends on the person. I'm not a morning person, so I will study at night. You may be a morning person, you might study in the morning. So you can just find out what you're comfortable with.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Is there any other question that I can take and answer?
Ma'am, there is one more.
Your voice is breaking.
Would it happen? Am I audible now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Most of the time it happens during the exam period with the students that some of the student does not complete the syllabus and lack of this because in the CA what happens that it's every 6 months there is a challenge. In 6 months they have to get exam. May there is an attempt, there is another attempt that comes in November. So there is a challenge in every 6 months. So most of the time when student is unable to qualify in the first attempt of May, he feels depressed and he coming out of depression, he already wasted up 1 or 2 months and then he comes back and the second attempt is also wasted up. How can he cope up with these stress reliever that he can just forget whatever happened in the exam and work harder on the next exam?
It is completely understandable if you're not able to get through the first attempt and you feel depressed about it or you feel demoralized about it. We are after all humans. I cannot say that there is some magic hack to not feel bad. You will feel bad, but you can really make use of these hacks that I told you, the brain chemical hacks. All this sounds like very bookish, but trust me on this, Mohibur, I have been a patient of depression myself, and that too polarized depression, and that's a very, very nasty form of depression. So, and I have used these hacks, and these hacks have worked wonders for me. Not only that, you have to be connected with your loved ones. Very, very important. Never go into a shell. Never ever go into a shell. I have met and spoken to so many young people who tell me that I am feeling this way and I don't want to share it with my parents. I don't want to share it with my friends because it might bother them. What will they think about me? I don't like hota hai na ki I did not get through, so I don't want to share it because they might feel that they might think that I am a loser. Never ever feel that way, because you have to stay connected. And if you don't have enough friends or parents or anyone to discuss this freely, then you have to seek professional help. But it is important to talk it out. Never keep it to yourself, because the biggest enemy of depression is keeping things to yourself. Never ever do that. Talk it out. Always talk it out. That's very important. And using these hacks can probably help you in motivating yourself. For example, this small little hack, Mohibur, ये जो मैंने आपको बताया ना, affirmations. I never used to believe in affirmations before. Never ever. I used to think all this is, how is it possible that I keep saying that this will happen and it will happen? But it actually is scientifically proven and it happens. And it has happened with me in my personal life. My father was severely sick. We almost lost him. He was on the ventilator for almost 2 months. And I kept affirming to myself that, no, this is not it. This is not it. I am definitely getting him back. And I used to keep saying that to myself in the mirror every day. Every day I used to wake up, look at myself in the mirror and say it. And it actually happened. So, positive affirmations can have a lot of positive impact on your brain and help you feel more motivated that, okay, this time it did not happen, next time it will happen. How do you think these people who prepare for MBBS exams, who slog for 5 years and still they are at it because they want to become a doctor and make a difference? Even engineers, they do it. This is the way they do it. They have to keep themselves motivated. But first and foremost is, Mohibur, you have to share. You cannot keep things to yourself. You have to be connected with your loved ones. And if required, you have to seek help from people. This is what I would say.
Ma'am, that you said, okay, you have to speak out, but I've seen some people does not speak that much to the loved ones also. The reason that you've already told that they feel shy that what they will think about, because the society and the city which we are living, they're very small, and that cities are thinking stress is not a bigger deal here. Nowadays, people do not know that stress is the biggest issue, and how to deal with these people, that how to find someone who can just give that concern over it, that stress that he's feeling out is in the positive way, so that the stress could be relieved, because most of the people does not talk to the parents also. तो कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे भी होते हैं जो पेरेंट्स से बात ही नहीं करते हैं, अपने फ्रेंड्स से भी इसलिए डरते हैं कि यार ये पागल पागल कहेगा, तो ये ऐसा क्या कर रहा है. तो हाउ टू फाइंड समवन की जिससे ये बात कर सके, या जिससे क्लोज हो, तो अगर वो उसकी बात को समझ पाए, तो किस तरह से वो बात करनी चाहिए? Could you tell about that, ma'am?
Most important is, I think what you're talking about is this stigma which is there in our society related to mental health. And forget about depression. मतलब मैं तो open platform पे बात कर रही हूँ. People don't even say that I'm stressed out, because they feel that if they say that I'm stressed out because of a small exam, people will judge them. So first and foremost is that we have to normalize these conversations. So पहली बात तो ये हो गई कि as responsible adults, and as people who are concerned, like you raised this concern, Aishwarya raised this concern, we have to educate people actively, our loved ones, that it is okay. It is completely okay if you're stressed out, if it is completely okay if you're anxious, if you want to talk. And I do get it. It is not possible to talk to your parents. Not everyone has the most supportive parents in the world. I totally understand that. And it is not their parents' fault also. That's the kind of upbringing that's been there in India. And not just India, in other countries also. It is still a stigma. But we have to consciously start breaking it. So पहली बात तो हम ये कर सकते हैं, how to help these people. So पहली बात तो कि if you come across someone like that, be open to them and provide them with a non-judgmental space where they can talk to you. Just tell them that, okay, let's connect. Like you have a friend who's feeling very stressed and saying कि मैं किससे बात करूँ, parents भी नहीं, parents से कैसे बात करूँ. You tell them, okay, no problem, you talk to me. Give them a non-judgmental space. Don't listen to talk. Just listen to them. Just listen out to them actively without, trying to answer or giving them advice. Don't do that. Don't give any advice. Just listen to them. That solves 50% of the problems. Trust me on this. If there is somebody who can listen to my problems or listen to me speaking without giving me advice, why do you think these people are scared of talking to their parents or the society? Because हम लोग advice देने में number 1 होते हैं. हम लोग बहुत एडवाइस देते हैं कि अच्छा तू ना ये कर ले, अच्छा तू ना वो कर ले, अच्छा ऐसे नहीं तो उससे बात कर ले. We all do that, right? We all do that consciously or unconsciously. So first and foremost is providing them with a space which is safe, non-judgmental, जहाँ पे वो बात करनी रख सकते हैं without any advice. Like the person will just listen to them. Also, there are a few companies that are operating in this space. I wouldn't name any because I'm not endorsing any company here, but I know of a few companies. You can connect with me later. I can let you know which provide this kind of space where you can connect and have a safe space to talk out your problems. Like Aishwarya shared a few things here. So if she wants somebody who can just listen to her, these companies provide that space. They can connect with you for 30 minutes or so, and you can just talk out and just talk to them, not, get any advice in return. That's there. And if the person wants some actual advice, then I would say that they can go for some professional help. And by professional help, you don't have to go to a psychiatrist. You don't have to feel scared कि अरे मुझे तो पागलों के डॉक्टर के पास जाना है. No, first and foremost, we should not talk like that because we need to normalize it. पागलों का डॉक्टर मतलब क्या? Everything starts from the brain and ends in the brain. If the brain doesn't function, what will we be? A vegetable, right? Nothing. We will not be able to move around our arms or legs, nothing. Our brain is everything. Then why are we so scared of it? I mean, we get fever or we have a broken arm, we go to the doctor, emergency में जाते हैं. But अगर हमें feel हो रहा है कि हमें बहुत stress लग रहा है, बहुत overwhelmed लग रहा है, तो why don't we go to the doctor? तो पहले तो इस चीज को हमें खत्म करनी है. That we all can do. Like people who are part of this presentation, at least us, the group of few people, at least we can do it and normalize these conversations. And secondly, it is not required to go to a psychiatrist. You can even go and consult a psychologist, but a practicing clinical psychologist or a counseling psychologist, not just anyone who claims to be a psychologist who doesn't have a degree. or a proper experience. So these are some ways that can be done. But to start with, Mohibur, I would say you need to give them that nudge as a friend. You need to give them that nudge and tell them it is completely okay to be stressed. It is okay if your parents are not listening to you. There are other people. There are some helpline numbers also. I can share some with you in India, wherein you can call if you're feeling extremely overwhelmed, or sometimes, these people get these suicidal ideations. जैसे होता है ना कि I did not pass this time. Will I be able to pass? Will I be able to, match my parents' expectations? It's better to end my life. A lot of people do that. India has one of the highest suicide rates in the world. It's very, very sad. So there are helpline numbers where people can reach out, and for free they can talk to people who are on the other side to listen to them in a non-judgmental way and help them not go ahead with that. So there is help, but what we need to do is let people know of that help. People are not aware. पहले तो हमें normalize करना है ये सब conversations कि it is okay, and then we have to let them know कि there is a lot of help out there. आप बोलो तो सही, आप बात तो करो. That is important. And also these hacks that I spoke about, don't underestimate these, especially the brain chemicals ones. Try these out. It's coming from a warrior of depression herself. I have tried it and it has worked wonders for me. I'm not trying to endorse any product here, but these are all things that have helped me, and these are all science backed. It is not something which has come out of my mind. So you should definitely give it a try. Does that answer your question, Mohibur?
Yes, ma'am. And the last question that I need to ask is that, as you answered everything very well, one question is that most of the people, when due to the stigma, they do not speak out. The behavioral that has been coming out, there change of lots of behavior. Some of the people goes in depression, bolte hi nahi hai. I've seen some people who comes in out of anger. मतलब इतना गुस्सा हो जाते हैं कि मतलब उनको खुद को नहीं पता है कि वो किस पे गुस्सा हो रहा है. And some I've seen biggest manipulators in these situations, that they try to play a mind game by thinking that other is thinking the same thing about him, but उसने ऐसा कुछ सोचा ही नहीं है. मतलब overthinking वाला challenge हो जाता है. So how these 2 or 3 things? First thing that we already given the answer that depression है तो किसी अच्छे दोस्त या किसी helpline numbers वगैरह से बात कर सकते हैं. But these 2 things, anger management का कोई issue हो जाता है तो वो कोई solution नहीं कर पाते. Second, I think I'm not able to get this कि जब वो अपने आप भी ओवर थिंकिंग करता है कि यार ये मेरे बारे में यही सोच रहा हो, और वो उसको उस तरह से बात करने लग जाता है विदाउट कंसल्टिंग दैट कि तूने ऐसा कहा या नहीं कहा. पीपल स्टार्टेड ओवर थिंकिंग. तो वो कैसे रिलीव आउट करेगा?
देखिए, I cannot give a ready-made solution for this because it's a long haul. These people have to go through proper therapy and be able to understand how they can change their behavioral mechanisms. But overthinking, as far as my experience tells me, and as far as me having studied people, I have studied a lot of people in my life, and I've seen that overthinking is not, it's not a negative trait, but it is probably a result of a lot of past experiences or behavioral experiences that a person goes through. Right. So we humans, what we do is we are like, I don't know how to say, but the brain is like a virus. It keeps mutating. Like, for example, I mean, not in the real sense. I don't know if I should be saying this, but suppose we come across a person we trusted and the person broke our trust in friendship. Right. So we will be very careful the next 10 times we go and make friends, and we will overthink it out. कि क्या होगा अगर ऐसा तो नहीं हो जाएगा. It will make us feel very overwhelmed that should I go ahead with this friendship? Will it be the same as the previous one? And so on. This is very common in relationships. It's very common in people working in work environments. Like there is something called as there is something called as work stress, and there is something called as work trauma. If your boss has, criticized you to a level where you feel that you are good for nothing, that's actually a sort of workplace bullying. So that's what we talk about in organizational psychology. So that can also leave you as an overthinker, thinking a lot of times before joining a new workplace. So it is all a cumulative result of what we have, gone through in the past. So the way to change it would not be a magic pill or some hack. It cannot be. So one way of changing it, to be aware of it, very important. So there's something called as emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence is being aware of your emotions, like we discussed in the beginning of the slide. How are you feeling? Trust me on this, a lot of people don't even know how they're feeling. Like you said, anger management. A lot of people are not even sure if they're angry or sad. A lot of people are not even sure if they're bored or sad. You know, if they're bored or sad, sometimes they take boredom, जैसे बोर हो रहे हैं उसको वो लोग सोच लेते हैं कि मैं तो sad हूँ, I'm very depressed. But in reality, probably what they're facing is boredom, because probably they have been working for 10 years and suddenly they have taken a break and they're sitting at home. So they're going through boredom and they feel I'm feeling depressed. But in actuality, probably it is boredom that they are facing. So it is important to be aware of what you're feeling. And in order to do that, it is important to notice your thoughts, because emotions kya hota hai? Emotions are a manifestation of our thoughts, right? What we are thinking constantly in our brain. And that's what overthinking comes from. And that comes out as anger, or comes out as extreme overwhelm, or, you know, trust issues. That is a sort of a emotional release of our thoughts. So it is very important of noticing our thoughts. So if a person, suppose aap hain ya main hu, I am an overthinker. I'm a born overthinker. I overthink things like anything. So I know how it feels. But now that I have, you know, realized the importance of, being aware of my own thoughts, what I do is, if I face such a situation, I go through my thoughts that, okay, what exactly am I thinking? And I think rationally. So I start giving more importance to the logical center of my brain that we spoke about, right? The prefrontal cortex, and less importance to the limbic system. I start thinking logically rather than emotionally. कि ऐसा हुआ था तो क्या? This is a different person. It might not be the same. It might be a good friendship this time. This is how it is. So these are some of the ways, emotional intelligence. So there are people, I am also a trained certified emotional intelligence coach. So there are, I'm not trying to endorse myself, but there are people who can help you out, you know, to become more emotionally intelligent and to understand yourself better. Because trust me, all of us are different. We have different makeups. So if you are an overthinker, I might not be. In that case, I might judge you, and I might not even understand how can somebody be an overthinker. I mean, pehla wala friendship nahi kaam kiya to necessary nahi ki this will not work, right? But that's how you have been programmed. So it is important to be emotionally intelligent in these cases. But yes, if you're saying that a person has anger management issues, which can be very, very a cause of concern for that person and people around that person, then it is absolutely essential to seek help, because anger management is something which can really, you know, manifest itself into something huge over a short span of time. So you should not leave it unchecked, at least your loved ones. Even if you feel that it is manageable, people around you, if they feel you have anger management issues, they should really make you seek help from a professional. That's very important.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
So any competitive field, or just like CS, so there is a point of comparison between you and the third person. Like you both started together, and he or she becomes CA, you're still appearing for the exams, and because of that we start overthinking, and you know, there's a doubt on ourselves. So what should we do? How should we overcome that problem?
So there are a number of things you can do. The first and foremost thing is believing in yourself. Very important. And it's not something out of a book that I'm saying. It actually works. Unless you believe in yourself, no matter how much your mom comes and tells you, beta acha hoga, you are very good, or Mohibur comes and tells you, or I tell you, it will not work. You have to believe in yourself. You have to tell your brain that I got this and I will do it. The second thing that you can do is positive affirmations. Very, very important. So, I mean, I can't ask you not to compare yourself, because that's human. I mean, we all do it. We all compare ourselves with others. But mind your own business first, and, you know, like they say now, compare your own self with what you were a few months back or a few years back. So maybe something that can help you here, Aishwarya, and that has helped me, is journaling. So in journaling, what happens is I maintain a diary on a regular basis and I write down what are my thoughts in it. Like Mohibur also said, somebody is overthinking or somebody has anger issues. So writing one's thoughts help them to be more aware. That suppose today I felt that, you know, I'm comparing, I don't want to, but I'm comparing myself with a certain someone. and I'm feeling bad about it. So I write those down. And I'm aware that, okay, I'm doing this, but my brain also knows that I am actually capable of a lot more. And it is not right to compare myself with others, because I am me and that she is her, she is she. So I have my own capabilities to do it. So you have to constantly, your brain is actually very dumb, to be honest. You have to constantly keep on reminding it how capable you are, how much you can do, that you have to do. And the other thing is, so one more thing you can do is you can start with two things. One is a part of the journal. You can start writing down 5 things in a day that you feel grateful for. Okay, that you feel grateful for, and that can be anything: for the presence of your parents, or because you got some dark chocolate ice cream because you were craving for it today, or maybe you have a friend to talk to, or today you got saved by someone from an accident, these kind of things. But just make a note of, or everyday things like, I have my loved ones around me, or I have, I can see properly, and in general, I'm in my best self, all that. So make a note of those 5 things that you feel grateful for. That can help you to have a lot of belief in your current ecosystem, because one thing is our own self, our own body, our internal body, right? Internal matter. And one is our ecosystem. Our ecosystem is equally important to our own internal self. कि हमारे around कौन है, very important. So that is why they say ना, be very careful about who you're talking to, who you're mixing up with, or who the people you are interacting with. That is very, very important, and probably more important than managing your own self, because those are the people who are impacting you. We as humans now, scientifically speaking, we mirror a lot. We mirror people's behavior. For example, if Mohibur comes and tells me a lot of negative things about his college, I'm just saying jokingly. So after listening to him for half an hour, I'll start believing in it. Ki, actually, it's actually very negative. And if I'm part of that college, I'll start believing it even more. But why do we do that? We need to have positive people around us. And that's the reason why, making note of these 5 things that you're grateful for in a day can really help you. The second thing that can help you is either positive affirmation. Wake up in the morning, look into the mirror and say something positive to you. Look into the mirror and say, Aishwarya, you got this, you can do this, you have done this, and ye bhi ho jayega. Ya fir, if you're not comfortable doing that, in the same journal, make a note of maybe 3 things from your past that you are proud of, your achievements. For example, something small as, winning a competition in school, something as small as that. But trust me, all that, if you reflect back upon your past achievements, look at photos of you receiving awards, or someone praising you, it really helps you go ahead in a better way, and that will help you in making less comparisons between yourself and others. Why do we compare? Because we feel we are smaller, right? Our subconscious mind tells us we are smaller. Why should we feel that way? We have to constantly tell us that we are not small, we are good and capable enough the way we are. This is what I do. I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
All this thing really helped me out, and I'll definitely practice that striking of the E wala part. And yes, it was a very nice session. Now I would like to. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Ashwari, you're audible.
Yeah, now I would like to request CA Dhaval Kothari sir, our honorable chairman, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Dhaval sir?
Hello.
Dhaval sir?
Okay, till the time Dhaval sir really join us, I would like to ask ma'am, I've read that you are mother of 3 beautiful girls.
That's right.
So, how's the experience, ma'am, with them? I mean, they must be very notorious.
So, honestly speaking, they changed my life forever, because I mean, till a few years back, I was not into pets or, you know, having someone I should be caring for. I've always been the pampered one at my home. I've been pampered by my parents, my husband, and a lot of my friends. But finally, it is good to have someone to care for, and they have really changed my life. There is a lot that you can learn from dogs and cats. They are not just, you know, kutte and billi jaise log bolte hain. They have a lot to teach you. They teach you how to, you know, adjust with each other, because I mean, when we got our dog, later on we introduced the cat to her, and they adjusted amazingly well. So with humans it is not the case. With human siblings, I've seen it is not the case. They fight a lot for toys and stuff, but these people adjusted like anything. Also, how to beat the stress. I have a lot to learn from them, because no matter how stressed I am, when I spend time with them, that really helps me every single time. And all the love that I get from them is like pure and unfiltered. So that's like double the amount of love that I've got from humans till now.
Yes.
So I'm very proud mom of these kids.
Yeah, something I have experienced too. I really, I lived once with a dog. Yes. So you were
Wow.
adorable, and they just want unconditional love. That's nothing else.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another thing is that I would also, you know, encourage you all to, if you like pets, then do think about adopting indies. I used to be one of those people who used to be very arrogant about it, that no, I want a Shih Tzu, or I want an you know, a Dalmatian. I don't want an indie. But indies are equally beautiful. In fact, they're more beautiful than the bred dogs. You should definitely give them a second chance. There are so many out there on the roads who die every day, you know, looking for some love. So it's always good to give them a second chance in life.
Okay, with this, I would like I would like Mohibu sir to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Surbi ma'am, for this wonderful session. And I think most of our students who have been watching this particular on YouTube, and on further after also the session it's available on YouTube. So they're able to get the knowledge about stress and mental health that you have shared during this whole slide. And I think the students who have not joined will get benefited after watching this video on YouTube. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful time for Jodhpur branch of CIRC of ICAI on behalf of our chairman and our CICASA chairman. Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful session, ma'am.
Thank you, Mohibur, and thank you for giving me this amazing opportunity to connect with you guys. And it's amazing to see the kind of questions that came up from you and Aishwarya, because that really shows that you know, we are going towards something positive, that we are now talking about mental health, and that gives me a lot of positive vibes and gives me a lot of motivation to go ahead with what I have been doing till now. So if you don't mind, can I take a quick few pictures, because I really wanted to send these to my loved ones and tell them that it is okay to talk about mental health and stress, nothing to feel ashamed of.